Julian Steve, take one. Hey, mi gente, it's Julian Steve. You already know my name, but if you're new here, hey. Today we're going to be talking about Childish Gambino and Steve Lacy. Yes, it has been a while since I talked about these two men, but today's the day. We're going to be discussing the latest controversies between the two men, and we're going to be talking about their anti-blackness videos that I made about them. One of them, Childish Gambino's video, was on January 15th, 2023, while Steve Lacy's video was on September 30th, 2022. Okay, mi gente. Okay, mi gente. Okay. We are going to start now. Before I move any further, I do want to note that I'm going to be talking about things that happen at a certain time limit between the two artists. And of course, if I gotta put any clarifications, I'm gonna put it in wording throughout the video. So we're going to start first with Childish Gambino and his latest controversies between 2024 to 2025. After 9 years of dating, Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino, married Michelle White. And this happened sometime in January 2024. So today we're going to be talking about something that I usually don't talk too much about on my channel, and that is how racial preferences go through a lot. And what I mean is that, look at Michelle White. While she is a racial preference to Childish Gambino, she essentially settled with him because they were having children while not married. I know. How are you going to tell people what to do with their bodies and their morals between their relationship with religion? I get that, but what I'm trying to say is that having a child is a huge responsibility. And I feel like people like Childish Gambino, Michelle, they don't think before having children, or in this case, having unprotected sex, and wanting to have children while not being in a committed partnership. Basically, they put having a child as less of a responsibility versus marriage or being committed into a marriage. If you read some things back then, Childish Gambino did say he didn't want to get married. He did say it, but I guess he changed his views. But it's like, you could have just not been married, in my opinion. 9 years, 3 children, that don't make sense to me. I wouldn't get married. But you know, rich people don't know what the fuck they are doing most of the time. I mean, no offense to Rihanna, but Rihanna, she's not married and she's having children too outside of marriage. Here's the thing though, it's a black couple and they have money. Whereas Childish Gambino and Michelle, most likely Michelle doesn't have, I mean, definitely Michelle doesn't have the money that Childish Gambino has, but they are not the same race. So now you have mixed children in the equation. And the way he views his blackness is concerning because now he has these mixed race children who most likely are not going to like black people like that because of their father. Especially if he doesn't change, but we're gonna see. I hope I'm wrong. Racial preferences do settle too. And it's sad. Especially when we add mixed race children to the mix. Childish Gambino collaborates with black women on his Bando Stone and the New World album. Raven, Lene, Amare, Corey, Formini, and Georgia Smith. All these women have collaborated with him on this project. So, Georgia Smith is biracial, but I'm gonna include her like that by just saying black women, because my point is he doesn't like biracial women either. And when I say biracial women, I'm talking about mixed with black women. And the fact that this man is still having black women on the chokehold is interesting. I'm specifically speaking on the black women collaborating with him, because I'm not talking about the regular black women show. That's also a problem, but we gotta start from the top, which is celebrities, influencers, politicians, because unfortunately people put these people on a pedestal. I'm not saying you cannot admire someone who is a celebrity, but when you put them into these very high standards and they don't represent us in a good light, and though they support people like Childish Gambino, it's a lot to explain. But I do like a lot of the artists that have been collaborating with Childish Gambino. That doesn't mean I'm going to support the songs that they collaborated with him. Due to health concerns, sometime in September and or October 2024, Childish Gambino chose to cancel his world tour. And because of that, pretty much he has been recovering from this issue, but he does plan to be a part of Tyler, the Creators. He has like a festival every year, and he's gonna be a part of it alongside numerous artists that are going to be there too. Stereo Gum's Tom Brehan released an article on This Is America. Pretty much he revisits Billboard US Hot 100 #1 singles, gives a bit of history, gives his opinion, and rates the song. He gave This Is America a 5 out of 10. I want to read his final statement in the article. He states, in any case, Donald Glover is the kind of popular artist who can do interesting things with intellectual property. Big companies hand him lots of money, and then he uses that money to make prestige-friendly surrealism. I tend to like his prestige-friendly surrealism, but I'm not sure that someone can really carry the torch for protest art when they're constantly cashing Disney and Amazon checks. This Is America made for an interesting moment, but the song means nothing to me today. It doesn't even make me want to try a new weight loss drug. Nah, Tom went there. I didn't want to agree with what he was saying on this article, especially because he is a white man criticizing a black man. But at the same time, we do need to hear constructive criticism from people regardless of race when it comes to art forms that has to do with like police injustice and propaganda going on in like America or wherever you're from making music or whatever art you're putting out there. And I have to say, I actually agreed with certain things that he said in this article criticizing This Is America. He really tore Childish Gambino's ass up, and I appreciate it. Because he's right, like, you gain these big ass sponsorships from these corporations that pretty much go against your protests to some extent. But Julian, Steve, take two.
Towards the end, and she goes, "Fuck me harder with that N-word dick."
I definitely can see an improvement with my videos. Of course, like I keep saying on my recap series so far, but Actually, no, I said that only in the Doja Cat video. Which, by the way, check out the Doja Cat video and the Kelly Stamps videos. So I suggest you to head back if you haven't seen those videos. But anyways, back to this. However, I do definitely believe that this video wasn't bad. Like my delivery, me explaining myself. Of course, I could have done better a bit. I'm not gonna lie, because I do see improvement now versus back then. But I definitely do like how I structured the video, at least for me. Yeah. But I do want to say that I was way more blunt back then versus now. And why that's a good thing is also a bad thing, because it's like now I kind of like censor myself more than back then. But that's because when you get some type of constructive criticism of people saying, hey, you know, you could be a bit more nuanced, or you could be a bit more nicer. But at the same time, I don't want to put a mask on and try to make people feel comfortable, because that's not my objective on my channel. I'm not trying to stroke people's egos. Of course, you want to be likable and marketable when you're trying to build a platform. But if I have to sell myself to do that, absolutely not. I should have went into more details on Donald Glover's Weirdo comedy special.
You know, I've said this in my restaurant, I like to date the black girls of every culture, you know? Or, you know, like Filipinos. They're like the black girls of Asians. Armenians. It's like the black girls of white girls. I was dating this Armenian girl, and we were making sex. I was having sex with her, and we were towards the end, and she goes, "Fuck me harder with that N-word dick." And I stop, look at her right in the eye, and I came harder than I've ever before. It was so awesome, you guys. It was so great. Like, I was like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, it was almost worth being black my entire life. It was...
Honestly, when I brought that up in the video, someone mentioned it on the community tab post about, oh, are you going to mention about him fetishizing white and Asian women? That's why I ended up mentioning it last minute. And you saw I just put like words of what I was thinking after watching that. But that's because I was like, do I really want to talk about that? But because people did brought it up, that does have to do with his anti-blackness, especially a big portion of his anti-blackness. That's why I was like, nah, I'm gonna just add it in. I know it's last minute, but it is what it is. But yeah, I definitely could have did like an editing me at that time. But back then, I did like doing editing me's on the videos. But now that things has evolved, I definitely should have done that, but it is what it is. I even got a big compliment from Harriana Hook, so that's a good thing, because if Harriana likes my content, I'm doing something good. And or if she resonates with my content, and or other YouTubers. People getting triggered by my takes on interracial relationships. I haven't checked the comments in a while, but I did remember while the video, you know, was making its runs on YouTube Streets and getting, you know, its engagement, I was receiving interesting comments of people getting triggered because I do not want to support Childish Gambino's interracial relationship, that I do not want to watch Mr. and Mrs. Smith because it's an interracial couple. He's going to be in a miniseries with this Japanese and white woman, Maya Erkensi. I think I said her last name right. I think it's gonna be a miniseries, and it's gonna be on Amazon Prime. Blah blah blah. It's based on the movie. Blah blah blah. And they're gonna be a couple, an interracial couple. Wow. I hope you're doing fine. I hope you write better, and I hope you hear constructive criticisms from us. And I'm not going to be watching your interracial show, Sorry Not Sorry, and other stupid shit in the comments. It was coming from both black men and black women, but it was mostly coming from black men. And I'm gonna say this right here, right now. If you get triggered by someone saying their honest opinion about a media that has been pushed onto us on ads, TV shows, movies, entertainment overall, I don't know what to tell you. Because in my opinion, I didn't say nothing that is too problematic to get people to like feel like I'm disrespecting interracial couples. If that is how you feel, I'm not apologizing because I didn't do nothing wrong. Sorry, not sorry. I'm not apologizing. But also, that tells me that I cannot have no type of dry sense of humor and or sarcasm in my videos. That's why I don't know if you guys noticed, but I started to become less sarcastic in my videos. And if I am being sarcastic, I put like an indication that I'm being sarcastic because people don't like that when I do that. And that's my form of humor. And also, to me, it's funny. I like it when creators do that because I'm like, yo, this is funny, and I could see their reactions. So I don't know. I just like that, man. People don't like that. Moral of the story is that I'm not gonna pander to you. I'm not gonna stroke your ego. Julie and Steve, take 3. Steve Lacy's latest controversies between 2023 to 2025. On November 24th, 2024, Drake called out Steve Lacy because I guess they had like a back and forth because Steve was defending Kendrick Lamar and then Drake found out about that, so then he mentioned it on the streamer. The streamer's name is XQC. This is my first time hearing about this white man, but anyways, because of this stream with XQC, Drake chose that opportunity to bring this up. He referred to Lacy as a fragile op. Lacy chose to retaliate by posting Instagram stories on the subject matter. Basically, if you're a fan of either parties, especially Steve Lacy, I guess you probably found this entertaining. Probably, I'm not sure. But I didn't want to say this because I'm too controversial, but I'm going to say it anyways. I find it interesting that two biracial men are fighting. The biracial person who is lighter skin is referring to the darker biracial person as a fragile op. So I don't know, that dynamic is kind of funny to me because it's I guess like it's different. It's not like something that we are used to, I guess. Steve Lacy confirmed about new music sometime in the summer of 2025. and he released a song called Nice Shoes. Obviously, you all know I do not fuck with this nigga too, so I haven't heard the song, and I'm not praying to hear the song. Sorry, not sorry. Around August 2025, Steve Lacy had a Rolling Stones interview where he talked about pretty much his life journey as an artist and current things going on in his career. And I want to read a specific part that really stunned me a bit. This article was written by Jeff Ihaza. He states, growing up in Compton with identifiably black features, Lacy remembers friends asking him who his dad was. When I was younger, I just looked black, he says. My Filipino features came in as I got older. So I was like, somebody's lying to me. Who the fuck is this man picking up my sister and I? It's upsetting to hear this because when you're young and you don't really know better, you perceive things a certain way, especially in this case, Steve Lacy being a biracial man who happens to be on the darker side. His experience is, I guess, going to be unique compared to somebody who is light-skinned like Drake, as an example, or J. Cole. While he was younger, he didn't have the Asian features as prominent as he has them today. And that made him, like, I guess, isolate, and then plus not having the best relationship with his father because he passed away while he was young. And I guess he doesn't have ties to his family because he did mention that, I remember. He don't really have ties with his Asian side. Steve Thomas Lacy Moya was born on May 23, 1998 in Compton, California to an African-American mother and Filipino father. His father was absent most of his life and passed away when he was 10 years old.
It was all English at home growing up?
Yeah, well, he was barely, and he passed when I was 10, so.
Oh, really? Okay.
I kind of lost all touches with my Filipino side.
But it's very sad, like, your family doesn't try to embrace that side of the family. I know his mother cannot do everything because she is a African American, aka Black American woman, but she did chose to have biracial children. So the least she can do is embrace their other side of their culture by maybe making them go to like festivals that are related to Asian cultures, trying to get more Asian friends to connect with Asian cultures and to see the beauty of it. And sure, Steve is definitely older now. He could do that on his own time. But I'm just saying, while he was an adolescent, the Rolling Stones article also states, Lacy maintains a mischievous relationship with social media. He's liberal with how much he posts to his main feed on Instagram, and he'll occasionally pop out on TikTok, posting clips using current trends or showing up in videos with popular creators. And though he hasn't been doing so much lately, Lacy's also known to clap back in the comments. Before officially coming out, fans on Tumblr and Twitter had already put together that he was queer. After a since-deleted tweet about racial dating preferences, a full-blown hate train emerged. Lacy says he learned from the experience. I appreciate it now. I understand where it's coming from, and I have empathy for it. He says, I remember at the time it was really hard to hear, he says. Cry me a river, Steve Lacy. Sure, it's upsetting to hear people criticizing your racial dating preferences, but it was a needed discussion. One of the people you're referring to is me, because I criticized you. That doesn't neglect the fact that you hurt numerous people from the Black community for your words, and also made us think, he probably doesn't like Black people, period, like that as a romantic partnership. Because if he doesn't like Black men, he definitely doesn't like Black women.
Oh, and there is more. He continued his anti-Black men dating rant on November 20th, 2017 and December 31st, 2017 on Twitter. Zion responds, dating white boys is also retired. Steve Lacy responds, LOL, leave me alone. I never date you and you're bitter about it. On December 31st, 2017, he states, before the year ends, tell me how racist I am cause I won't fuck a Black guy. Let's get it. Woke Twitter, where you at?
While you said this statement, it makes me and probably other people wonder, what are your motives? Do you really do not mind dating only Black women and non-Black men? Or you just don't want to date Black people, period? Julie and Steve, take 4. Similarly to the Childish Gambino video and the Doja Cat video, I definitely improved on just video quality, stage presence, and pronunciating, etc. However, to give myself some credit, I was actually sick when I filmed this video. And I pulled through, which I'm proud of myself for doing that. But moving forward, if I'm really sick, I'm not gonna be filming because that was a wild time of me doing that time. But like they say, the show must go on, especially if you actually can do something about it, which is what I did. I definitely could have talked about how Steve Lacy talks down on Black men versus him not doing that to Asian men. Especially if you watch the original video on Steve Lacy, he really has a negative bias towards Black men who he sees as his competitors and only sees them as his niggas.
He's not willing to date a Black man because he finds them as his competitors. And then this comes with the conversation on why do you think this way? So tell us, Steve Lacy, why do you think this way? Oh wait, I'm gonna answer it for you guys because Steve Lacy is not here, so I'm gonna be talking for him in a hypothetical way. I think Steve Lacy has this perception of Black men as his competitors because of the environment he lived in. Does that excuse him? Absolutely not. And I find this so weird. How you do not find people of your same race attractive? Why would you not be attractive to people who look like you? Even though he is half Black and half Asian, let's be real. Steve Lacy is going to be perceived as a full black man, even though I can tell he's mixed, and a few other people, or maybe some or most within the black community, could tell that he's mixed too. But in America, he's perceived as black.
When it comes to the Asian people, well, specifically Asian men, crickets, until it comes to him addressing his father. So that's very interesting, how the community you more attached to on a closer level, you're gonna be more bigoted to. Definitely, I could have went into more details when it comes to that. Explaining why black people shouldn't be his top supporters. Yes, I could have went into more details on that, but I chose not to because I was trying to not directly say, black people, stop supporting Steve Lacy, because first off, that wasn't even going to happen. As a matter of fact, some of you guys that watched the video were still hearing his music. And I didn't judge you for that. I didn't judge you for that because I want you to enjoy whatever art forms you like, right? But I do want you to always question things, especially when it gets to a point where you cannot support no more. So in this case, for example, I stopped supporting Kelly Stamps. I'm at a point where I might not support Doja Cat. These are two examples of my points. You get to a point where you cannot support people no more. Sure, there are going to be people who are going to stand these celebrities regardless, but my point is, us people who want to be sane and not give bigoted people, whether they are black or they are not black, a chance. When you boycott these people and or just completely ignore them, that shows a message, not only to them, but to their team. And basically, without us, they wouldn't be where they at. We, as consumers, we have the power to change things and support people that actually care about us. And that's why you won't catch me supporting these two men. Julie and Steve, take 5. Thank you so much if you made it this far in this video. I appreciate you. Be sure to like this video, comment, share, subscribe, and use the hype feature on this video, because within a week, they would push my video to more people to view this video. So I would appreciate it, especially if you really like the video, to hype the video. Like Kenny Carton said, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. So that's gonna make you stronger by supporting my stuff. Tell me, what do you think about this recap? Tell me, is this the best one? Okay, mi gente. Okay, mi gente. Okay. Thank you and peace, mi gente.